Relationships thrive on trust, respect, and healthy communication. However, there are moments when certain words reveal underlying issues that could be damaging to your emotional well-being. If a woman says any of the following 3 things, it might be a red flag to consider walking away. Let's break it down. 1. You're too sensitive. When someone tells you, "You're too sensitive," it might seem like a harmless remark, but it often carries a deeper and more troubling undertone. This phrase, though seemingly innocent, can have a significant impact on your emotional well-being. At its core, it dismisses your feelings, trivializes your experiences, and creates an environment where your emotions are deemed invalid or inconvenient. A statement like this is not merely a critique of your sensitivity but an outright dismissal of your humanity and vulnerability. Hearing, "You're too sensitive," repeatedly can cause you to internalize the idea that your feelings are a problem. Over time, you might suppress your emotions, hesitate to express yourself, or even question your own perceptions. This dynamic shifts the focus away from the behavior or situation that triggered your feelings and places blame squarely on you for reacting. It's not only dismissive but also manipulative, making you feel like the issue lies within you rather than in the circumstances or actions of the other person. In relationships, this phrase can signal a lack of empathy. A partner who frequently uses this line might be unwilling to acknowledge your feelings or take accountability for their actions. Instead, they may use it as a way to deflect from their own behavior or avoid meaningful discussions. Rather than addressing the root of the problem, the statement becomes a tool to minimize your concerns and shut down communication. This kind of dismissal can also indicate a deeper imbalance in the relationship. Healthy partnerships are built on mutual respect and understanding, where both individuals feel safe expressing themselves without fear of judgment or ridicule. If one person constantly invalidates the other's emotions, it undermines trust and creates an unhealthy dynamic where one partner's needs are consistently ignored or devalued. So, how should you respond if someone tells you, "You're too sensitive"? It's important to stand up for your emotional well-being without escalating the conflict. You might calmly say, "I understand that's how you see it, but my feelings are valid, and I'd like to discuss what's bothering me." This approach reclaims the narrative, reminding both yourself and the other person that your emotions matter and deserve to be heard. However, if this dismissive behavior becomes a pattern, it may be time to re-evaluate the relationship. A partner who truly cares about you will make an effort to understand your emotions rather than belittle them. They'll recognize that sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a strength that reflects your emotional depth and capacity for connection. Walking away from someone who habitually dismisses your feelings can be one of the most empowering decisions you make. You deserve to be with someone who values your emotional needs and creates a space where you feel seen, heard, and respected. Sensitivity is not something to be ashamed of. It's a part of what makes relationships rich and meaningful. A healthy relationship will never require you to suppress this part of yourself. Instead, it will encourage you to embrace it fully. 2. If you really loved me, you would. If you really loved me, you would, is a phrase loaded with manipulation and emotional coercion. At first glance, it might seem like an expression of disappointment or an appeal for understanding. But it often serves a more harmful purpose. This statement isn't about love, it's about control. And it's a clear red flag in any relationship. When someone uses, "If you really loved me, you would," they're essentially tying your love and commitment to their demands. This tactic creates a false equivalence between love and compliance, suggesting that your feelings are conditional upon doing what they want. It's an emotionally manipulative tool that shifts the focus away from mutual respect and understanding, turning the relationship into a one-sided dynamic where their desires always take precedence. This phrase often comes with a subtext of guilt. It implies that if you don't meet their expectations, you're failing as a partner or, worse, that you don't truly love them. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem and make you second-guess your own boundaries. The more you give in to these demands, the more the balance of power tips in their favor, creating a relationship built on control rather than mutual care. Healthy love doesn't require proving your feelings through acts of submission or sacrifice that make you uncomfortable. True love thrives on respect, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway. When someone genuinely cares for you, they won't weaponize your emotions to manipulate you into doing things their way. Instead, they'll create a space where both your needs are valued and where open communication, not guilt or coercion, drives the relationship. So how should you respond if someone says, "If you really loved me, you would"? The first step is to recognize the manipulative nature of the statement and resist the urge to immediately comply. Take a moment to evaluate whether their request aligns with your values and boundaries. You might respond by calmly saying, "Love isn't about proving it through conditions. Let's talk about what you're feeling and find a solution together." It's crucial to understand that love doesn't mean sacrificing your principles or autonomy. If this kind of emotional manipulation becomes a recurring theme in the relationship, it's a sign of deeper issues. A partner who truly loves and respects you will never use your feelings against you or try to control you through guilt or obligation. Walking away from someone who repeatedly says, "If you really loved me, you would," can be a difficult decision, but it's often the healthiest one. You deserve a relationship where love isn't conditional and where your individuality is cherished, not exploited. True love doesn't demand that you lose yourself. It celebrates who you are and fosters a connection that uplifts both partners equally. 3. All my exes were crazy. When a woman says, "All my exes were crazy," it might seem like a casual remark or an attempt to share her past experiences. However, this statement can reveal deeper patterns and perspectives that may be cause for concern. It's essential to consider the implications behind such a sweeping generalization and how it could affect your relationship. At face value, this phrase often frames her as the sole victim in her previous relationships. While it's entirely possible that someone has faced challenging or unhealthy dynamics with former partners, describing every ex as crazy might signal a lack of accountability or reflection. Relationships are complex, and rarely is one party entirely at fault. If someone repeatedly blames others without acknowledging their own contributions or choices, it can suggest an unwillingness to grow from past mistakes. Another layer to this statement is the potential for negative patterns to resurface in your relationship. If every ex is painted as crazy, it raises the question of why these patterns keep recurring. It could indicate unresolved issues, poor partner selection, or even toxic tendencies that may eventually affect you. Furthermore, the word crazy is often used dismissively to invalidate someone's feelings, struggles, or behavior. If she labels her exes this way, it's worth considering how she might handle conflicts or disagreements with you. This statement might also hint at her perspective on relationships. If she consistently views herself as the victim of crazy exes, she may have difficulty addressing challenges constructively. It's crucial to be with someone who values open communication, mutual accountability, and emotional maturity rather than perpetuating a narrative of blame. A thoughtful response to hearing, "All my exes were crazy," can help you gauge her mindset. You might say something like, "That sounds like you've had some difficult experiences. What do you think contributed to those dynamics?" This approach invites her to reflect on her role in past relationships and demonstrates your interest in understanding her history without judgment. Ultimately, a healthy partnership requires both individuals to approach the relationship with self-awareness and accountability. If her comments about her exes are paired with behaviors like lack of reflection, constant blame shifting, or an unwillingness to address her own growth, it may be a sign to tread cautiously. A strong relationship is built on mutual respect and understanding, not on a foundation of unresolved resentment or narratives that cast everyone else in a negative light. Walking away in such situations isn't about judging her past but about protecting your emotional well-being and ensuring that you're entering a relationship with someone ready to build a healthy future. True compatibility comes from shared values, open dialogue, and a willingness to learn from the past rather than being shackled by it.